Hello and welcome to the home of the Ghost Owl as we now take a look at a comparison of infantry units across the High Elf roster. We did the characters before, we're now onto the infantry, so let's take a look and see how they stack up. So here we go, we've got Elven Spearmen, Elven Archers, Lothern Sea Guard, White Lions, Sword Masters, Phoenix Guard, Shadow Warriors and Sisters of Avalon. So they've all got a movement of 5, which is great, but typically Elven. Weapon skill wise, the basic infantry, they're all the core ones. They got a weapon skill of 4. Weapon skill 4 for core infantry shouldn't be underestimated. That's pretty good. And they got a ballistic skill of 4 as well. That's pretty good for core infantry, right? So that shouldn't be underestimated. But in terms of the elves, they're at the bottom of the pile. Sword Masters, however, standing out there with the weapon skill of 6, which is incredibly nice. And the Sisters of Avalon and Shadow Warriors doing their thing in a ballistic skill of 5, which is exactly what they should have. But you can see across the board, pretty good stats in this area for the elves. Only one of the Elven infantry options has a strength of 4. That is the White Lions of Crace. That does fit in with their role. As we said, you know, they are there with the high AP and the additional strength on the weapon. Despite the strikes last, you add that together. That does give them that bit extra strength dealing with the higher toughness units. The strikes last being the main issue there. Toughness and wounds across the board is the same. Initiative, again, Swordmaster of Hoeth really sticking out there with an initiative of 6, which is excellent. Initiative 4, still not bad for your core infantry, despite being the lowest. Everyone's got an attack of 1, which is interesting. And then leadership, the Phoenix Guard there with their leadership of 9, while they are supposed to be that sort of, tough, durable unit for elves. And alongside that, they do have access to the best armor save coming with full plate armor of all of the elven units, with the archers, shadow warriors and sisters of Avalon having the worst. As you'd expect, they are ranged missile units. They do tend to have light armor and therefore on a 6+ armor save. Overall, the Elven Spearmen are the cheapest, but I think if you look at the stat line, they definitely should be considered, especially given they've got that spear wall. Lothern Sea Guard, they're coming also in at 4, as we said, in their entry with their hybrid role. Again, they definitely have value, but they are identical pretty much in every way to Spearmen in terms of stat line. So you've got to make sure that for the extra points per model, you can get the value out of naval discipline and their role of having spears and bows. In terms of the more elite infantry, Phoenix Guard come in at the highest points cost, followed by Sisters of Avalon. But it should be noted, all of these units are within 1 or 2 points of each other. So there is not a huge difference in points per model here. For me, Sword Masters of Hoeth, I think, are brilliant. I really like them as an elite infantry unit. I think the Shadow Warriors are really good. They come in at the same cost as the Sword Masters and have great value. The White Lions are my least favourite, but do have a role. But I think you can see that the Sword Masters offer something really interesting. Shadow Warriors is different because they're all about shenanigans. And the Sisters of Avalon, because of what you can do with them, as expected, they got that good ballistic skill, they got some decent initiative, but with the Horn of Isha support as well and a Handmaiden does make them valuable to the point where I guess they do need that slightly higher points cost. But they're not as expensive as Phoenix Guard. I said they're all pretty close in terms of points. It's really about what you want to do with them. They do have very clear, specific roles. So you've got to have clear in your mind when building your army list what you want these units to do. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the infantry comparison. I hope that was useful just to see it laid out on the screen. I certainly find it useful when I'm doing it, which is why I've added this into the faction focus videos. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you want to see more content, hit the subscribe button. It's totally free for you to do. It means a lot for me, so thank you for that in advance. You've been watching The Ghost Owl. Tune back in as we take a look at a couple of sample army lists that are fun to play as opposed to being ultra competitive.